and welcome to MyTennisCoaching.com. I'm Steve Whelan, and I'm joined by a special guest for once. Greg, I'm not talking to myself. Normally, I'm talking to myself, mate, on these streams. So it's nice to have Greg from Mini Tennis Insight. We're going to talk all things under 8 tennis, which is amazing. We're both passionate about that age group. We've both just been discussing off camera how long we've worked with that age group, but we won't give our age away. We've just done it quite a long time. But we both look like 21, mate. So we're looking all right. So everyone probably knows you more than me, to be honest, with your amazing Instagram. But you probably don't recognize the face or sometimes the voice. So just give yourself a little introduction, mate.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for having me on. And my name's Greg, and work at Canterbury Tennis Club in Kent. And I've been coaching for about 20 odd years now. And the last few years, I've really honed in on sort of the 8 and under space. Where I work, we're really passionate on helping the 10 and under players, doing the best job we can. So the older I get, the more, I want to do a very good job in one area and be as effective as I can. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I set up the Mini Tennis Insight account to share some of my daily activities.
I love it, mate. And we've obviously had quite a few chats before, and I love your work, and we'll sort of unpack sort of how you do it and how you set it up. But your Instagram's completely smashed it out the park over the past couple of years. Because I remember maybe when I first started following, you had a couple of thousand followers. Now you're pushing, is it 30,000, which makes my look really small.
Yeah.
But maybe just have a little just talk through your social media journey.
Yeah, so that was a funny one. So my fiance, my other half, she had an Instagram account, and which is very good to showcase her business. So I thought, oh, I'll have a go on that. I was terrible. I didn't have a clue, and I had to work at it, and made a lot of mistakes. But yeah, I enjoyed showcasing some of the stuff that we do and I do, and I like putting ideas out there because I have a lot of thoughts. And I love my job, so I'm thinking about different things daily, and it's quite nice to put it out there and see what other people think. So I did that initially, and it's just something I've just kept up with. And yeah, I love my job, so I just want to showcase how much fun you can have doing it, and how much fun the players can have as well along the journey.
Mate, I think it's great, and I think I had a similar journey. When I sort of started off with obviously a coach education point of view, whereas yours more player development and sort of showcasing what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. But the start or at the beginning when you start off, it's scary. I didn't want to put my face on camera.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put my dodgy Scouse accent on camera. And then it's funny because the more you evolve, the more natural it comes in. If you would have said to me 3-4 years ago, I'd be doing a live stream with yourself, I'm not doing a live stream on camera. I wouldn't know what to say and stuff. And it's interesting because a bit like tennis, you start off, you make loads of mistakes, you do stuff that you think's really good, and I look back at some of my early stuff and go, oh my god, that's so bad, that's so dreadful. But it's a journey, isn't it? It's just an experience.
Yeah, and I keep thinking, this is just my way of doing it, and everyone's entitled to a different way. There's many ways of doing things. And I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm just showing them what I'm up to, and I can make suggestions here and there. But I think, if you think like that, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's crazy because I've had a few conversations this week with coaches who get quite wound up with my views on coaching. But I'm the same. It's just my way of coaching. I'm just sharing my journey. If that resonates with you, take some of it. You may find it useful. If it doesn't resonate with you, then I'm not saying your way is the wrong way. I'm not saying my way is the right way. And I've been sort of quoting Bruce Lee a lot this week. His whole thing was, there's no such thing as a way. No way is the way. It's finding your own journey. And I think what I love about you is it's genuine. It's honest stuff. Whereas a lot of the other social media coaches, I think a lot of it is they're doing it for the views, they're doing it for the clicks. And so that's why I'm a big supporter of yours, because one, it's real. You're using real players. we just talked about a coach who may live in the south of France off camera, where it's a bit more set up and it's a bit fake. Whereas what I love about your stuff is they are mini tennis players performing mini tennis games. It's a bit like sometimes with, could be careful what I say, national governing bodies when they show videos.
Yeah.
And then you show it to the coaches and they go, oh yeah, it's great, but that's an under 8 drill and they're under 10 performance players.
Yeah. I think going back a bit there, I respect that in many ways of doing coaching. So I completely respect that. And like you said, every player, every family, every coach, every club centre are in a different situation. So there's no one right way, but it's a matter of building up enough tools and knowledge to help the players along the way. That's a big one that I keep going back to.
It's something. It's why I started my tennis coaching. It wasn't to say this is the way. It's like this is what's working for me.
Yeah.
And if I can help you, and if you're on your coaching journey, if I can help you in any way and share my mistakes and share what works, then hopefully we'll work together. But I still find in the tennis industry there's a fear of sharing, and it's like, well, I don't want to share the secret sauce in case you use it against me. And what if you look at me and think I'm not so good? Well, hopefully we're all in the same job, we're all in the same area. Like, why can't we just help each other out? Why have we got to have this rivalry of, well, I don't want to share information because you might use it and then you might be more successful than me. And that's what I love about your stuff is you're putting out really great content that works with a very difficult age group, which we'll sort of get onto in a minute. And you're just sharing it for the world to see. And like for me, that's amazing. And I think tennis coaches need to do it more. I think we definitely have to network and work together more. But for me, there's still that barrier of I don't want to give away the secret sauce.
Yeah, very true. I think if I'm honest, I just enjoy. I just enjoy what I do. So I'm just immersed into that. So I might put some videos out there, and people are like, no, we won't. It's not suitable. We won't be looking at that or saving that, and that's absolutely fine. I don't mind. But I'm just happy about what I do. And it's funny with video, you can showcase children's enjoyment, can't you? Yeah. And that that if you see that, then the drill is doing a good job. And a large part, what I'm interested in is getting players through playing tennis, loving tennis, helping the families, the players, and making them want to come to tennis every day or play as much as they want. So that's a big passion for me.
And I think that's the hardest thing for us to do, because I think we are going to talk about the under 8 stage now. For me, it's the most important stage, because if we get it wrong, we'll lose the players. We'll lose them at under 9 or definitely by under 12. And I say this a lot. Tennis, well, kids don't come to my first session loving tennis.
Yeah.
It's because it's just not within our culture. Kids will go to a football session and love football because it's in the culture, like it's in families, whereas tennis is a little bit different. So I always say when I'm doing Coach Ed with the assistants, your job is to make them fall in love with tennis.
Yeah.
Because if they fall in love at this early stage, we've got them for life. And if they don't fall in love, then we'll lose them. So for me, it's getting that love for the game. What barriers or what challenges do you think we face at under 8 that stops us or stops the players finding that love or stops them staying in the game?
It's a quite a broad subject, but there's many factors that can influence children and families taking up tennis. I mean, I think you need passionate coaches at working with the players that age, and the coaches want to be there. They want to have enough knowledge to help the players there and then. They want to be able to educate the parents and just show absolute love and passion for the game. And I think there are some of the barriers that we face. Also, group sizes can be in it. It depends how you can manage your group sizes, but you don't really want to overload, in my opinion, have huge groups with maybe a couple of assistants. You want a good coach to player ratio when possible, and you want to be welcoming, warm. So when the players turn up, you want to be set up, ready. You want to introduce yourselves. You want to use the players' names. It's just building a good rapport with everyone and giving them a great experience. I think one where I work at Canterbury, we're very lucky. We've got some really nice coaches there, great coaches. And the head coach, Simon Grieve, has done a fantastic job with creating a nice, welcoming culture, like a lovely environment. So each player has a house. So we have the 4 Grand Slams as their houses. They all get a T-shirt. And throughout the session, or throughout the term, they will be completing badges that will help them with life skills as well as sport and tennis. And they'll build points for their house.
Oh, nice.
So straight away, we're getting children meeting other children, creating friends, bringing the whole club together, which is a big start for me. If you can get a nice, warm, welcoming club, and for families and players that want to spend time at your club, that's great. Then if they want to play 1, 2, 3 times a week, play competitions, great. But the first thing, you have to build a nice, warm, welcoming club, in my mind.
Well, mate, you know what? That's amazing, because like I think one of the biggest barriers is the fact that it's an individual sport. And I think a lot of these young kids at the under-8 level, they're playing lots of team sports. They're playing netball, football, tag rugby, and they come to tennis and all of a sudden you're on your own, you're competing for you. Whereas I love that idea of the house system, because you're almost going in and you join like a little team. You're a team within a team. We've got the team identity with so the kids have different colored T-shirts and stuff based on their house or their group.
Yeah, exactly. So over the years it's changed slightly. So initially the first 10 years or so they'd have a purple T-shirt or a blue T-shirt for the US Open. But now to help, they all have the same color T-shirt, but the logo is the color of their house. So when we have team events, everyone's got a T-shirt. So it's evolving and getting better year by year, and the coaches all playing their part as well. So you have to have a passionate coaching team to help get this up and running, and then it needs managing. The system needs managing over time. But if it's done correctly, it doesn't take too much time out of your session or your week.
Mate, that's so good, and I love the idea of everyone has the same colored T-shirt, because you're one big team. But then you've almost got like the sub teams with the different logos and stuff as well. I just think that's a really good, powerful message of saying, yes, you are an individual, but you're part of something bigger. You're part of a tribe. And I think even as we get older, and if you only have to go on any business call, and all they talk about is developing a tribe and community. And I think as tennis clubs and coaches, we don't do that enough. So I love that concept of the tribes and the overall tribe, but then you have your little subsections as well. Can you just give us an insight to maybe what the badges are and how you get badges?
Yeah, of course. So, for example, one of them, the most sort of highly used one. So every child will have a diary. At the end of each session, we will give, I will give the player a score. So it'd be kind of a mini review together, very brief, 1, 2, 3, or 4. So if the player gets over so many scores over 3, so if you get 4 scores of 3 and above, you'll get a little badge within your diary. Once you get 10 badges, you'll get your first bronze character skills badge. Then there's a silver badge, gold badge. We'll have some basic sports skills that we do at Mini Red. So they'll have to complete 4 sports skills challenges. One would be throwing, one would be dynamic balance, one would be using both hands, one will be using both feet. Then they can complete their first badge. If they complete that, then we'll have a silver and a gold. So we have the sports skills, tennis skills, character skills, competition, volunteering, practice skills. There's many skills to collect, and all great for for life skills. Plus the players get a lot of points when they earn a badge for their house, which is a big incentive as well.
Oh, mate, it sounds amazing, because again, it's like I'm thinking as a parent, it's easy for me to follow. I can tangibly see progress, and it's not all based on like a rating system in terms of outcome in terms of tennis matches. It's all based on athletic development, psychological development, stuff like that. So I think there'd be quite a few people listening to this making lots of notes, mate, and thinking, oh my God, like to me, that's amazing. And I'm guessing as a coaching team, it's quite nice because you all know roughly what you're all working towards and working on at the same time as well.
Yeah, we work very well as a team, and we leave Mondays to have a long team meeting, and we're all our communication has got better and better over the years, and we all work together to make this happen. I would like to say you've got to be sensible, the coaches, when to use these badges and when to test children. Yeah. You don't want someone to come for their first lesson and do the tennis skills badge and so you've got to be careful when you use them, but it's a very powerful tool if used correctly.
I love it, mate. It sounds great, and I know in this country, and you will know that there's been quite a few similar awards, but they've never really caught on. They've never really sort of caught fire. I think I've been through maybe 4 or 5, and you're the same age as me roughly, so I think you've been through the same system. So what makes your system work whereas others have failed?
It's not easy as a team, so you've got to put some hard work in. It's taken us a long time to get to this stage, but yeah, it's a good communication. We'll have 4 big team events a year. For example, I have one coming up soon, a parent-child Christmas tournament, raising money for charity, but it'll also count towards points for their team. So the coaches have to pull together and put certain events on. But I like where I work because we provide these events. We bring people together. We also have a really good competition section. So in the under-8 space, we have 2 match plays a month that are run at our club. Other children are welcome, but it's run in a really nice atmosphere. It's really warming. The coach Nick Wibley, who runs it, has a fun zone, so any players waiting off will go into this great fun zone. And yeah, it's talking about barriers earlier. It helps children get into competition, and it helps them believe and see that this game is really fun. I've often seen over the years some levels of competition for under-8s can be a bit off-putting, and I've known many players that have stepped away from tennis as a result. Yeah. So I think with this age group, it's making it warm and welcoming and a place for everyone to pull together and develop their skills.
That's amazing. So when they do these festivals or competition days, do they compete within their groups or in their teams?
Yes, on a few of them, they will go into their houses and then they'll compete as a house.
And how does that compare to when you see them play individually? Is there a difference in their mindset or mentality or their behavior?
There is. It's fantastic for children of all ages coming together to work together and help each other. That peer feedback and younger children learning from older children and older children teaching the young children is massive. And I think that's been a really powerful area in our club, how people are pulling together and help each other. It's massive, yeah.
That's amazing because, again, like we started off with this in a segment, like to me, it's creating that community team feel within an individual sport. Because even if you compete at a good level, you've still got a team around you.
Yeah.
You always need your peers and your fellow players in and around you. Like no one gets anywhere in life on their own. I think sometimes tennis gets that misconception of you just have to be on your own, look after number one. And I think it almost goes back to the coaches before about sharing ideas. I think players then get scared of, I'm not sharing my practice time with you in case I play you down the road. And I think if we start off at that under-8 level of this is what tennis is about, then it just becomes the norm. And like to me, I'm a big believer of culture and environment. And if you get that culture and environment right for under-8, all the issues we face within tennis, all the barriers that we'll probably touch upon today, they become less because it's the right start for me.
Yes, there's a lot of areas I'm constantly trying to improve, but bringing players together and families together, providing the right education and helping them on their pathway, because tennis isn't easy. You've got to maneuver around the competitions, but if you can get a team together, parents communicating together and sharing lifts or helping each other, it makes the journey so much easier and more enjoyable. It's huge. It's underestimated in my mind, that part of tennis.
it's just sharing the stress, but then also sharing the success as well. And I think as coaches, we need to do this more.
Yeah.
Like there's times when I've worked on my own and I've been so stressed out because I've got no one to talk to because I'm working at a club on my own. I've got assistant coaches who don't quite get where I'm coming from. It's like, well, who do I talk to? Whereas if you just reach out and you've got a network of people, and that's what I love about social media now is I think there's quite a few of us. We're all talking to each other in DMs and we're sharing ideas and sharing problems as well. And just like there was a guy who messaged me this week and we talked not tennis, we talked about life because he's not going through he's going through quite a difficult time in life, and just having a chat about just I get where you're coming from because I've been there as well. I think sometimes tennis can be quite a lonely game for parents as well, because I see it all the time in my work where parents don't talk to other parents because they see them as competition.
Yeah.
And I've got it within county teams. Like we go to county cup and parents aren't talking to each other because the kids have played a match at some point and there's been a disagreement over the line call. I'm like, it's so petty and ridiculous. Like we're all in this together, and it just festers and festers, and yeah. Listen, I think what you're doing there is great.
Thank you. It's a long journey. If you want to play tennis, it's a very long journey. So enjoy it. Enjoy it for what it is.
Enjoy the highs and enjoy the lows. And like I think I was talking to you off camera. Like I've been doing a lot of reflecting on my coaching journey. And like sometimes when you put stuff out on social media, people think that you're perfect, but I've made so many mistakes.
Yeah, and that's how I learn. Actually, I will make mistakes. I might quite often learn the hard way, but I love learning. Like you were just saying, you kind of all learn from each other. We love it, and it's everyone's going to make mistakes, but you keep learning.
And someone asked me the other day, would I change anything? And it's no. Like, I've made a lot of big mistakes and silly mistakes, but I wouldn't change it because I wouldn't be the person I am today. And I think it's something I did a podcast on this week. I think sometimes within tennis, mistakes are such a horrible word for players. They don't like making mistakes, but they need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, I think sometimes as coaches, we create a fake environment where we're constantly fixing mistakes, whereas I'm the opposite way these days, where I want you to make loads of mistakes. And my approach to coaching now is I don't give you solutions, I give you problems.
Yeah.
And now it's up to you to sort of solve them, because I want you to miss. I want you to make mistakes. And I think if parents understand that from an early start, we're off to a winner as well.
I like that mindset of causing problems for your opponent and getting out of trouble as yourself. It's how you word things and what picture you paint at the time.
Yeah, because for me, when I started coaching, I was the one who gave the solutions. So I would give the solutions. And over the last couple of years, I've realized that, well, those solutions might not work because you might put yourself in a situation that's completely different or slightly different. So I see my job now as not giving solutions, but causing problems. And then the player's got to work it out for themselves.
Yeah.
And then my job's a little bit different, whereas I think a lot of coaches give solutions because they're the expert.
Yeah.
But the tennis court's not like that.
No, it's not. Yeah, and making the player think and coming up with the solution themselves, in my view, is often more powerful. It's going to stick rather than drip feeding players every slight bit of information.
Yeah.
If they go away and play a match and no one's, they haven't got their mum, dad, coaches there, they've got to problem solve.
And you know what? That's why I love your stuff, because it's all play. It's fun. It's fun. It looks amazing. It looks colourful, but there's loads of problem solving going on, and the player won't even realise that they're solving lots of problems. So can you just sort of maybe talk about your practice design or your drill design? Because Simon Wheatley, who I'll give a shout out to, he and this was a compliment. He said you're like the nutty professor of tennis. In terms of you just think of these amazing creative activities for the kids to play with. But there's hidden meaning and there's hidden science behind it that to the naked eye, parents won't see it. And a lot of the time coaches won't see it. So maybe just talk a bit about how you set up these amazing practices that you showcase so well on your Instagram.
I love it. I've been called many things before, but yeah, like that. All very similar to that. So Yeah, a lot of it is creating a nice team working environment. So, for example, it might be kind of a icebreaker movement drill, getting the children to learn names, creating a good buzz and energy at the beginning of the session for us to then move on. There is a deeper meaning behind every exercise I do, but a lot of it is to bring players together. And if my daughter goes to tennis and she's not having fun, she's not going to do it. So although there is some structure in my sessions, I have start with the end goal in mind is a big one. I have a place where I want the players to be. I have a goal, but we have to have fun along the way. And I want to build skills along the way. I want to prepare them for the future. So, yeah. So, well, some examples I might do throwing and catching, maybe using your non-dominant hand for the ball toss. It might be the other day we were talking about my daughter was holding a balloon in her, I think it was her left hand, and she had to do some scoring with her right hand. So I asked her to hold the balloon so she could use her other hand. She was at the age at the time she was using both hands, so I just wanted to see what hand she was. And I think it's very important for children to be able to use both hands. It's massive, and feet. So, yeah, there's been so many exercises that I think of. I can't think of one now, but there are many, and they all have a deeper meaning behind them. Yes,
it's great. And then there's a couple of things that I'll pick up on there. What you said, I love the fact that you allowed your daughter to choose what hand. Whereas a lot of coaches will say, "Well, you're doing left or you're doing right."
Yeah.
Whereas what I loved about the practice design, which we talked a little bit off camera, is you set it up, and then she decided what hand, is that right? What to use?
Yeah, I'll never be. I wanted to see where she was going. So initially she was more left-handed. See this with a lot of children. Now she's right-handed. But I was never gonna push it. It's like quite often we'll have children that can use both hands, and they're not sure what hand to use. But for now, I'm happy if they've just started tennis. Let's use both sides, and we will see. There's no rush. It also encourages good body work, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's helping them along the journey, really, with a little nudge if you need to, but quite often you don't need to.
It's something I'm really big on at the moment with the ecological dynamics approach of letting them explore and find stuff out themselves. Because from a scientific point of view, it creates a deeper level of learning and understanding. Whereas I think a lot of the time as coaches, I'm not bad-mouthing coaches, but a lot of the time we tell, and like there'd be a lot of coaches watching this video and say, well, I'll make your daughter play left-handed because there's a massive advantage later on if she's a lefty, or I'll make her go right-handed because I'm right-handed and I don't want to work with a left-handed player. Whereas a lot of time in coach education, I always say it's not the coach's tennis, it's the player's tennis. The player needs to evolve itself. And there's an interesting clip of the week with Monotoglu, with the player who played the forehands on both sides.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation on a coach workshop, and 90% of the coaches said they'll change it and make him play a backhand on one side. And I said, why? So, well, it's going to break down. Once it gets to a top level, it's break down. I'm like, well, you don't know. Like, if he's efficient and effective with that, it's unorthodox, it's different. But at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong way to hit the ball. If it's working and he's successful, why would you change it? Because you think it's right. And like what I say to coaches all the time is we only have opinions. A bit like what we said at the start, like there's no one way to coach, there's no one way to play.
No.
Various opinions.
And often if things break down, the player it's buy-in for the player. They will see, right, we'll make a change. We're ready now. We can see that. And often as coaches, you want to help them. You want to find problems, showcase areas that they might have a little bit of trouble, and then you can look to change things if needed. But you don't want to be diving in too early.
It's something that I get asked a lot when I'm teaching the backhand. People say to me, "Well, do you teach two or one-handed?" I'm like, up to the player.
Yeah.
You swing on that side. You might even go non-dominant hand. And until it doesn't work, then we'll have the conversation. Okay, we may need to adjust or change something. But like 10 years ago, I would teach you double-handed because everyone did. Because now, like if I throw the ball to a non-dominant side, I'm not too bothered how you do it as long as you get it over. And And for me, I think that goes back to allowing the players to explore. Let them explore what works. And when it doesn't work, then we can intervene and help them, really.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I'll just do that. Yeah. So, yeah, I love the whole, creating problems, getting out of trouble. And that's how I look at my sessions now with the players that are starting to do match plays and looking to play the game of tennis. And yeah, all the time, I might be different, but as early as I can, I'll get the overarm serve going, even if it's ball and racket to each other, no net. I'm straight in there because I think there's no time like the present, and I love the overarm throw. There's certain things that I take great pride and passion in my area of work, like the serve. I like to get that going as early as possible.
To me, it's the most important shot because it starts the rally. It holds all your confidence. We know as tennis players, if I'm serving well, I'm playing well.
Yeah.
And it really frustrates me when coaches neglect it and they won't touch it. They'll touch it once every 6 weeks, or they'll touch it 10 minutes at the end of the session.
Yeah.
And if you've ever watched any of my lessons, every rally we start with a serve. If you can't serve, throw it in or catapult it in. Just do something that looks like an overarm action.
Yeah, that's why some of my warm-up activities are right. I need to get more overarm throwing in or more serve development. So let's find a fun game and get the throw in. And that's where these games come from. There was a country, you may know better than me, but many years ago, instead of it was a club, instead of doing a underarm second serve, they got the child to throw the ball in overarm.
Yeah.
So the children would go for the overarm. If they missed, second serve can be an overarm throw, which I thought was quite positive action. But yeah, I'm happy to give, if you need 4 serves or we need to adjust your position on the court, great. Let's do that.
It's vital. And like, I use swing vision a lot of my sessions now, and with all my indies. And I reckon the players are serving 51% of their total shots. Sorry, the serve is about 51% of their total shots generally now within sessions.
Oh, wow. Oh, brilliant.
Because everything has to go around the serve. Because when they get to any level, they're going to have to be able to serve. And I think the less practice we give, the less confidence the players have, because they'll step up and like, I can't do it because it's difficult. It only becomes difficult if you don't practice it. Yeah. So the question I'll throw out then to think about is, why do coaches neglect it so much? If we know it's so important, why do we neglect it, especially at under 8? Because I rarely see anyone coach serve at under 8. It's always forehands.
Yes, it's it could be outside pressures. You could think, lots of parents are watching. This session needs to flow. What if they miss? It could be that. Could be too short-term thinking, not thinking about the long-term effects. Yes, a funny one. Not having the skills or games or toolbox to make it fun. Yeah, and it's all of the what ifs. What if this happens? What if they miss these two? What if this? It's as I get older, it's coaching on the spot, seeing what's happening. Now let's make a change. We don't need to pre-plan the whole session. I can't. Some things you can't plan for. You have to react as they happen. You need the tools to do that, or the variety.
Have to coach. Yeah. Have to coach what's in front of you and sort of, and not just have a script, which I think a lot of coaches tend to do. They'll have a script and they'll go on and this is my warm up, this is my close drill, this is my progression, and no matter what happens, I'm just going to follow this process. And there's various reasons for that, which I'm not going to go into.
For the serve, going back to serve, I found various ways to help. So we might have a curtain at the back of the court. So if they're very young or find it struggle, I get them to throw the ball up and trap it against the curtain. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that can be a bit boring, but if you do 3 in this bullseye, you collect a peg, or it's sort of like effort rewarding or habit stacking, you call it. So it's finding ways to make it fun and enjoyable and very engaging for the player while you're developing the essential skills they need to play the game.
Mate, that's huge. Like the big pushback I get from coaches on Coach Ed is it's boring, it's static, it's really tough. Well, if you get them, well, if you're coaching me and you get me to stand at the baseline of a basket of balls, it's boring, it's static. I'm going to miss loads, so I'm not going to enjoy it. Whereas if we're working on forehands, and if I just throw it in to start off the rally, I'm working on the serve, and it's not boring, it's not static. And like I was working with a player this week, under 10, good player, regional level. He's got regional match play this weekend, and we're working on coming into the net. But every rally he started, he served. And all I said to him was, you hit the serve. It has to be cross court, but can be anywhere cross court. Doesn't have to be in, doesn't have to be in, it can be anywhere, but just start off with a serve. And the idea is then try and find a way in. And watching the clip back, his first serve percentage is about 70%. It was actually in. So even though he had the freedom to serve anywhere, subconsciously he was just getting in because there's no pressure on the serve. So even though we weren't working on the serve, we were working on coming forwards. He got loads of serve practice. So it's like for me, it's working on the serve, but not making it the focal point. It's including it in the game, which Mark Tennant does really well.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm always looking at other coaches, and there's certain coaches that you can, have a wealth of knowledge. There was we had our Monday meeting. We had a great a coach every week. A coach takes it in turn to run the on-court part.
Love it.
And it was a coach had just been doing his level 4, I believe, with Chris Suter. So he got a little bit of insight what they've been doing. But there was I might get it slightly wrong here, but it's a fascinating game. If you, after so many shots, you had to tap the ball up, catch it, and wherever you catch that ball from, you can throw the ball up and smash it in, and the point resumes. There was another example from another coach. Wherever you win the point from, you can serve from that area next point. And these games are so exciting and fun.
Yeah.
And without, maybe if we're talking children, without children knowing it, they're developing a fantastic throwing, serving, smashing action, which is only going to benefit their serve.
Oh, mate, it's great. And like, I'm just thinking of a few that I do. There's one where we play 2-touch tennis. The first touch I got hit up, and the second touch has to be an overlap. And you're literally hitting serves from multiple areas around the court. I've done the differential one where you can serve anywhere you want. I can go right up to net and serve. I can go back behind the baseline and serve, or a bit like what the game is there, Chris's game. I'll hit a ball, you've got to catch it and then hit a serve from there. And it's being creative. What is static, boring, and not very good is that last 10 minutes of a session where, okay, here's a basket of balls, hit the serve into empty box. And it's all very technical and really rigid and boring. Whereas I think if you make the serve dynamic and fun, one, they're going to learn the skills anyway, and two, it's not boring.
Yeah, and it is. I love the challenge of finding a way to help a player. So especially with 4 or 5-year-olds, maybe I've worked, been on court with a few 3, 2-year-olds. It's about making it fun firstly, but it's finding a way to help them. And you've got to be creative, and that's why I like my job. You've got to find a way. There's not one fixed way. I learn in totally different ways to everyone else. I appreciate that. ADHD, dyslexia. So throughout my life, I've had to find alternative routes to get, to learn from a situation. So I can really appreciate that with children and adults. Excuse me, Steve. Can I just get a glass of water?
Yeah, grab it, mate. It's okay. I'll pause it. Right, we're back on. After it's tough, mate, talking and then having a dry throat. But the point you made there, that every play is different, so important. And I think I've been guilty of it in the past, where you almost coach all the players the same within a group.
Yeah.
And I think that's the danger of what I now class as traditional coaching, of everyone doing the same thing. Everyone's different heights, different stages, different experiences. And that's what I like about the ecological dynamics approach I've gone down, is every lesson's different. Every player who does the activity or the drill or the practice does it differently. And I think one thing we learned from the pro game is Nadal's different to Federer.
Yeah.
But then for some reason at the under 8 level, we have this mindset that we teach them all the same, despite them being physically and mentally different. So on that note, then, what's your thought about teaching the basics. So I get hit with this a lot with Coach Ed. Well, surely you've got to teach the basics of technique. You've got to teach the basics of the grip and the shape and stuff. What's your thought about the basics?
Oh, the big areas for me, firstly, is, so I'm a big one. We at the baseline, I want the players to understand their court. So let's say we're talking sort of five years plus. So I want them to know the boundaries, and I want them to know the court. We quite often have a garage, we call it, or an island at the back of the baseline, and I'm a big one on hit and recover. So play a shot, know where the baseline is. I like players to have good intensity. I like to teach a basic ready position. Are they ready to receive the ball? And I like to help them to be balanced. Can they move with control? Great. So quite often don't have to use a tennis racket. You can use a big, large tennis ball or the big footballs. Can you go out, throw with a forehand, recover with balance or some control? Can you do that on both sides? And yeah, so yeah, I would start with, I like feels. I like tap, push, hit. So with the younger players, I like them to be able to control the ball first, definitely. However they want to do that. So I like small courts with no nets. Can they push the ball in or tap the ball in on both sides? Then as we make the court bigger, add a net, then they're going to need a different shape or different technique. So it's always changing. Whatever the challenge they face, they'll have a different technique for that. So I don't get too technical. I'll try to help them along the way, say with the correct service grip. I might give them exercises to help develop this, but I'm not going to be wasting too much time on that, because I know as they move on, as I pass the players on to the orange ball coaches or their next coaches, that'll be an area that they will be maybe ironing out if suitable, and suitable for the player at the time.
I love it.
Yeah, there's no overarm serve. I like to help out as much as possible. So can they throw the ball up, hit a controlled, balanced serve? Because if they can do that, the ball's must be in an okay position. Yeah, but my coaching's changed over the years. I used to be a bit too much on the control and balance, but yeah, it's they're my main focuses for now with younger players.
Again, I love it because, again, for me, they are the basics of tennis: movement to from the ball, balance, feel. And I think a couple of words you used really well there was they have to meet the demands of the challenge. I'm probably paraphrasing a little bit, but that's what it is. So you a bit like we said before, you set the problem. I just paused it and resumed.
Thank you.
But yeah, so you set the problem, and then they have to find their own movement style to solve it, and whatever that may be. And I think to me, that's great coaching. I'm not just saying that because you're on the call, because you're allowing them to find the solution with their own movement. Whereas again, what I see a lot is coaches, okay, well, this is the C shape. This is a split step. You bring the racket here, and this is the basics that we teach. And my arguments is always, well, it depends. It depends on how big the court is. It depends on how big the ball is and what's happening on both sides. And I think what you've absolutely nailed there is you just get the basic movement and the feel, and you set the environment and the solution. And that's what I said to you sort of off camera before. I think people will look at a lot of your stuff and my stuff and go, yeah, it's just games though, isn't it? Like, where's the teaching? Where's the technique? Well, they're learning it without learning it.
Yeah.
And one.
If I need to jump in, I will. And I like to have the tools to do that. But exactly what you said, I like, we do a game where we call it the world's smallest court. So we put some lines down next to the net, and they've got to work on their touch and feel and their angles and moving the ball around. It's a wide court. So their technique, I'm going to help them with their feel there and technique if I need to. Another one, I used to call it the Great Wall of China. So we'd put a big net sort of halfway on the court. So the player at the far end would have to get that height and depth.
Great.
Then I can go in and help them with that one. But without creating the right setup or situation, you don't know. So it varies all the time, as you know.
It's great. And like, I don't know how much you've looked into the constraint-led approach or the ecological dynamics, but that's what it is. It's you create the environment and the player just works out themselves. And then I see our job, and pretty much what you're saying there is you will jump in and intervene to help them solve the problem. You won't just jump in and give them the solution. And I know a lot the way I'm working at the moment, if they can't do it, I just change the environment. I just make changes, so whether it be the space or the rules, to try and get the outcome that the player's working towards. And like for me, it just gives that deeper learning and that deeper level of understanding.
Yeah, 100%. I do like to ask a few questions every now and again and get their thoughts on what is happening. But yeah, I love creating different environments and different situations to see how they can problem solve and see what they do.
So again, by the signs of it, you're in a pretty nice coaching culture environment. But do you ever feel any pressure from the parents or the coaches to look at these sessions that look chaotic and messy, but like my sessions? Do you feel pressure of, oh, I've got to be a bit more technical here because such and such is watching, or that parent looks really angry because I'm not delivering a technical session? Do you ever feel those emotions? Because I know I do.
Yeah, well, I do. I don't know if I'd like it or not. I kind of feel that sometimes. And over the years, I have felt a lot of pressure. But now I'm getting more confident at, if I need to explain or feel like I need to approach an area and explain why we're doing this, I'm more than confident to do that. And I like building trust with parents and families. So if they ever feel like they've got a question or they want to approach me about an exercise or why we're doing this, I'm more than happy to give them my response and tell them and try to help them see kind of my vision of where this session or where I feel we can take this player's tennis to. I appreciate everyone's got opinion. Lately I'm watching my daughter at gymnastics and dance classes, so I'm looking at things in a different way the older I get. And parents have every right to ask and ask questions about the session if they feel, if they've got a question. I'm here to help. At the end of the day, I want a lovely group of players, family, coaches. I want to work in a lovely environment. And quite often, if you don't approach things early on, they can build.
Yeah, I know. There's some great points there. Like, I think just being open to parents and explaining the why, because I think sometimes, I know I've had it in the past where parents have had other coaches and they come to me and it's different. And I've had a parent say to me, well, when are you going to teach tennis? Because all we can see is these crazy games. And I said, well, it may look crazy, but this is the reason why. And then I'll give them a little bit of the science and what we're actually working on. They go, oh yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
And but I think half the time coaches, either it's a lack of confidence or sometimes arrogance to go, I'm the expert, trust me, without giving explanation into it. And I think a lot of the time coaches revert back to that traditional way because of that peer pressure from the parents. But a few things you've said today, it's not just about coaching the players here, it's educating the parents and making them involved as well. And like for me, especially at this young age, I says to the parent the other week, you're more important as the parent than the player. And you're like, what? So, well, you pay all the bills, you're the taxi, you're the sports psychologist, you've got to deal with this player day in, day out, who's your child. Like, I need to let you know more about what's going on than the player needs to know.
Yeah, you need to work. Everyone needs to help each other out, and you need to work together. So communication is huge, and the longer I do this job, the more important I see this side over anything. If I can get better with my communication and help create a nice team environment, I think we're gonna have better results for everyone.
Yeah, I think it's just getting it's not getting the parents on board as such. It's helping them. It's just giving them the information of the reason, the why we're doing these crazy things. And you've mentioned it a few times today. Like, it's life skills. Like, I'm teaching your kid how to get through life. That's why it's more important than swimming. And like I've always had this conversation with parents, and they go, well, we've got a choice between swimming and tennis. We're going to pick swimming because it's a life skill. And I'm like, well, you don't need to learn how to swim unless you fall in water. And like, we live in Hatfield. There's no water around us for, for a long way. But tennis is going to teach you resilience, problem solving, how to deal with difficult situations, physical skills. Like, to me, that's what tennis is. Like, I put a post out this week about tennis is life, and it was a bit cheesy, but it's true. It's life skills, and parents just think back to when they were kids at high school doing really boring tennis lessons of how to hit a forehand, and they don't see the actual true benefit of tennis, which is the life skill. But again, that comes back to the education and the sort of marketing, I think, sometimes of coaching.
Yeah, it's huge. It's learning how to adapt and problem solve. It's fantastic. I'm very grateful that I've fallen into the world of tennis. I've played many sports over the years, and whatever led me to tennis, I'm very grateful that I do this as a job, and I've kept in this game. It's fantastic, and the longer I do it for, the more benefits I see for children. It's fantastic.
100%. And like I say a lot now, I don't teach tennis players no more. I teach people who just happen to play tennis. Nice. And and like if they become a good tennis player at the end of the day, it's a bonus. But if they become good people and I can give them some resilience and those life skills, then I've really done my job. And I think that's why sometimes I don't think we market coaching the way we should, because we are teaching all these skills. It's not just about teaching a shot or to be good at tennis. It's teaching so much more than that. And I think once parents understand that, there's a bigger buy-in as well. And that's when we can compete with the swimming and the footballs, because with football, I can not be very resilient and hide in a team. But in tennis, I've got to face up to it on my own. I've got to deal with difficult and challenging situations on my own, like I do in life. Whereas when I played football, if I was having a bad day, I'd just hide behind my teammates and just and let them carry it. Whereas tennis, I've got to step up and let you go deal with it on my own.
Yeah, it's a tough sport. I love the fact that players can play. I love the fact that children can play different sports. I think it's very important. Learn to swim, play football, build up all your skills. And every sport and every environment provides something new learning experiences for children. And I love the fact, every now and again you get players that only have one-to-ones. They might be very young, but I see such a massive benefit in group sessions for players. Learning how to be part of a team, problem solving together. The list is endless, and it's so rewarding as a coach and for the players when you take a group from a young age and then see after a year's development how they interact, how they work together, how they problem solve. It's fascinating, and the skills they can learn from that are huge and invaluable.
It's massive. And I think we talked about this last time we had a chat. I'm trying to stop individual lessons. Coaches think I'm nuts. Like, why? Because it's easy and you get good money. I'm like, but it's fake for the players. I'd rather get a group of 3 players playing together than me coach one and give them a fake ball in a fake environment. And there's an obsession with private lessons in this country at the moment of we need more private lessons because that's how we get better. I'm like, no, you need to have less private lessons, do some groups. But then, like you said rightly, go and play other sports. Don't play tennis 6 hours a week. 2 hours of tennis, play football, netball, hockey, basketball, go through the whole ecosystem, and that will benefit your tennis later on.
Definitely. And there's no harm whatsoever in going out and hitting with your dad or your mum or your friends. Oh. There's massive benefits to that. So a bit of free time, bit of free play to go and enjoy the sport as well is huge as well.
Because then it's more dynamic, it's open, it's real. It's not and I get into trouble all the time with this. Coaches, we set up fake environments and we can make you look really good. And then you go into a match play situation and it's chaotic and it's not nice. And we almost don't train like we play. And it blows my mind. And like, I had a parent the other week saying, well, I want 4 individuals a week. And I'm like, great for me, easy money for me. I'm like, no, we'll do 1 indie and then you go and play for a couple of hours. And no, we need a coach. I'm like, you don't need a coach. You just need to how to play tennis. Just play tennis. That's all you need to do. Don't coach him. Just play. Just play a match and enjoy having time with your son or daughter. Like that's invaluable.
We saw worked with a lovely player over the years, but had a lot of one-to-ones. On a Friday night, we have a club night where all the children are invited to a free club night, being part of the program. So it's such a great evening. There's probably might be pushing 60 children at the club playing matches, games. It's a bit chaotic, but you see massive development from the children. Tennis is chaotic, so they're playing points, they're playing games, but this one parent said, "Oh, I'm not sure about this. It's a bit messy, and maybe a one-to-one would be better." But I said, "This is great. Look at all the distractions happening around her, and this is the best focus I've seen for years.
Yeah,
she's engaged, she's having fun, and she's playing points." And it was so valuable for me to see that at the time, because I've thought like that over the years. God, this is a bit messy. What will people think?
yeah.
But researching some of the best academies or successful academies over the years, you need this time to be chaotic. You need this time to play and play points.
Yeah, massively. And I think parents have this fake idea of what good coaching looks like in terms of a very structured, regimented environment. You watch any match, it's chaotic, it's nuts. And like, I think the more we embrace chaos, the better. And I think kids enjoy the chaos, because you only have to go to a school at lunchtime and look how chaotic that playground is.
Yeah,
it's chaos, it's noisy, there's just so much going on. And I think that's what kids enjoy. Coaches don't enjoy it because we're worried about how does it look? How's it going to look?
Can I control this environment? What if this happens? But yeah, as long as the children are in a safe environment and learning and playing the game, it's great.
It's great, mate. We're literally almost out of time. We've got a couple of minutes left. Just listen, it's been great. We'll definitely do this again, because I think we could literally speak for hours. And you're an amazing coach. I love the work you're doing. Keep smashing it. I don't like the fact you got more followers than me, but you never know. I'll try and catch you up one day. Just let people know how they can get in touch and where they can follow you and stuff.
So I have a website, www.
There you go. It's on the screen. Look at that.
Ready. Thank you. Fantastic. Look at that. So yeah, I have a website that you can come on board. You can subscribe. I think it's $8.99 a month, and I put many drills or exercises that I do with certain ages on there. More designed to the 8 and unders, but it's got some 10 and under drills. So there's a variety of videos you can watch on there, and then I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube these days as well. And I also have a new website where you can buy themed lesson plans. So I've dived into the world of themed lesson plans and working with a really cool graphics company, and we're trying to bring lessons to life for children and coaches. So you can check them out on my Instagram as well if you subscribe. But yeah, so I'm enjoying that experience at the moment.
Mate, I love it. You've got lots going on, and I think, like we said before, the more we can share best practice, the more we can share our mistakes, and sort of we can let coaches know what works and what doesn't, the better. But listen, it's been great talking to you. You're a legend, and hopefully we'll see more of you talking and delivering your amazing message as well. But listen, thanks. You're my first guest on these coaching corners.
Yeah, but I'm honoured. Thank you.
Oh, mate. I was going to call it Coaching Conversations, but Wheatley beat me to that name. So we'll call it the Coach's Corner. Yeah, it's been great. Mate, well done.
Thank you.